what matters most is you're still alive and you're with us tonight. I know you're watching us from different parts of the world. Some are in the Arab world, Africa, North America, South America. We really do appreciate for the time that you put in to watch this show. We know sometimes the current government, especially Ugandan government, doesn't like shows like this, but we have to do what is right. Call out what we have to call out. Tonight, a number of things that have happened in the recent week, but we're not going to just focus on the review. We're going to focus on the key things that happen in the country, the key things that lead us where we want to be. Number one, is it a big problem or a small problem? Number two, you've heard about taxes. You've heard about President Museveni declaring parliament as a useless organization that does not make decisions for the country. Think about it for a second. Useless, that it doesn't have any power to think about the country. But who knows? Just 11 days to go. President Museveni is going to be sworn in as a president. The question is, will he swear in as a president, or will the opposition for this time? Bobby Wine, take that set. I'm joined by a team of political analysts, economic analysts, Richard Myombia, Apple, and Hilary Seguya Taylor. We'll be also joined from South Africa, our big friend, Jaja Ibu, and from Washington, D.C., Karim Ntambi. These are very strong opposition politicians, but at the same time, they're strong political analysts who want to see a better Uganda. Tonight, we are focusing on Uganda. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me. It's always good to start by asking how your week was, so I'm not going to go against it. Let me start with Hilary. The week has ended. Stories have been the same. Politics as usual. Is it politics as usual to you too?
Well, thank you so much, the host, David, for bringing us here to engage in a conversation about the status quo in Uganda. Greetings to our dear viewers, and we are glad to come and talk about how we can move our country forward and liberate it from the dictatorship of despot Museveni. Back to your question, of course, the week has been so sad. We've seen all events that have been trending, and to me, I was so flabbergasted, of course, by how Ugandans are looking at the issues at hand. To me, because I read a lot of Daily Monitor, and I was so shocked about the national debt that we're incurring as a nation. So it has hit 65 trillion Uganda shillings. So this comes to Ugandans as stakeholders. We have neglected this issue for so long, and we are focusing on minor issues. Yet countries like Kenya, they're giving a lot of attention to the national debt. So I believe that as Ugandans, we need to come together and make sure that we put more pressure on such issues and also other events that have been following.
Thank you so much. It's been forever since you and I had a discussion online or even on TV. It's a pleasure meeting you again.
Thank you.
Apollo, any big story? Your candidate, I believe you are a strong supporter of President Museveni. You may not support him so 100%, but at least you believe in some of the agendas. Apollo, anything interesting in the political history of the country?
I believe in issues and concerns of the country, not Museveni.
As an individual?
As an individual. So the shocking thing I saw last week was when they said 11.7 trillion disappeared. 11.7 trillion, not billions, but trillions disappeared. I don't know whether we are the people who made them disappeared or those who are in government. So
you vote for those people. I want to thank you so much. You vote for the members of parliament and ministers. Richard, anything interesting?
Yeah, I was watching Mr. Museveni. My name is Richard Myombia. I don't hide my name. And I was watching Mr. Museveni making a quote, because the reason why I come here to defend people power, and the reason why I come here to defend what I believe in. He said that in the last 43 years, China was able, on any TV, was able to attract investment into the country because of cheap labor and to build industries. And the same agenda is the one that he's pushing now. so that what he believes that is going to create jobs in the country is to bring in foreigners. Still at this time when he's exposed of his ideologies that are stupid, then bring in foreign investors, give them the economy of the country, and lend the country people useless and work for peanuts to create jobs. I totally don't agree with such a
Richard,
idea.
I want to thank you guys. You kind of brought up something that is very interesting about taxes, dates, and business investors coming in the country. One of the biggest things that we have seen so far is that the date is increasing, taxes are increasing, and everything is increasing in the country. And not positively for the benefit of the country, but just taking out from the people so that the government can develop the infrastructure. So here you mentioned that. I want to start with you. You said the date is too much, the date is too much. Kenyans are demonstrating on Twitter. Last week we had a discussion about it, but I want you to throw more light on that. Kenyans are demonstrating on Twitter saying we are tired. IMF says you need this money to sustain your government. Kenyans are saying we don't need that money because since 2017, after the construction of the rail line, nothing has changed. The purpose was not fulfilled. So why are you saying the date is not okay? Yet Uganda needs better infrastructure, better roads, better healthy facilities. People are crying because they cannot sell their products. Their roads are bad. Why are you saying the date is bad?
Well, I'm not saying that date is bad as such, but for me, I love date that does the work it's meant to do. But for the case of Uganda, of course, we've seen that the date, the loans we're going for from these international financial institutions, they're not doing the exact work they're supposed to do. So the money they're getting, of course, is ending up on offshore accounts by a few individuals, not to better Ugandans, not to better livelihoods of our people of Uganda. So we have to be concerned about it, because if the national debt is hitting 65 trillion Uganda shillings, and we are not paying attention to this as a nation, then there is a huge problem in our country, Uganda, whether the parliament does not pay attention about what's going on, or our leaders at the local government. So as Ugandans, of course, we have to rise up and say, hey, wake up, what's going on? Because they're telling you that today, as we speak, each Ugandan has to pay a debt of 1.5 million Uganda shillings. So where are we going to get that money from? Because today we have to know that, of course, the national debt is becoming unsustainable, because we are almost hitting the threshold of 50%. So if you look at our GDP to debt ratio, it is at 59.1%.
But
So now, what does this mean? The debt is becoming unsustainable. We are going for expensive loans, and what does that mean? We have to pay high interest rates at these, the creditors like the IDA, the World Bank, the IMF, the China Exim Bank, the African Development Bank, and we have to come to the table and see, as a nation, how are we going to remove ourselves from becoming financial slaves? Because today what Museveni has done is to turn us into financial slaves.
The government is working towards improving infrastructure. They need to buy. You've been asking MPs that, well, we vote for you, but they don't come back to see us. So the government is seeking for more loans to buy for them cars so that they can reach their constituencies. And you people in your opposition are saying, no, we don't need that. It doesn't matter. We don't care about that. MPs should buy for themselves cars. How are they going to reach the people? So that's the importance of the day.
Now, yes, roads are good. But again, constructing a tarmac road, and yet there is nothing valuable coming out from such regions or areas, what is it going to help? Because now, look, our economic backbone is agriculture. So if you are saying that now, let's boost agriculture, let's give it a bigger share when it comes to the national budget, and you give it maybe like 20%, because agriculture right now has less than 20%, then we could say that maybe there is a motive here to build the country. But today what we're seeing, of course, agriculture is given less funds, and a lot of money is going to security. Now, if I can just precisely talk about this issue still, because now, look, what does this debt mean to us as Ugandans? We are putting our national assets at risk of seizure. Because if we don't act right now and stop these creditors from giving, Museveni, who is endlessly borrowing money, then we have to, get worried about our assets. So soon we are losing our assets to countries like China, to also pay huge or high interest rates. So we have to ask for debt relief. We have to stop the government of Uganda from, unrealistically borrowing to make sure that we save our country. Because if you are a father and you have financial constraints as a father of the family, you have to sit down and plan, how can I start saving other than going for loans? Because if you don't have money, then plan, how am I going to save
You're not going to spend
and
much.
fix the mess than borrowing more money?
Here I want to thank you for that. But let me bring in Apollo. Apollo, this has been going on over time, and I'm sure that you've been following the political trends in Uganda. Billions of money lost, billions of money borrowed, billions of money wasted. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, njagala kukozesaayo ku Luganda si kuba nti oluzungu sirumanyi. Njagala kukozesaako ku Luganda. Omusajja omu yali atutteyo omuwala we okumubatiza. Kakati Reverend n'amugamba ate erinnya ery'oluzungu. N'amubuuza wali owuliddeko omuzungu ng'abamubatiza n'abuuza ate erinnya ery'Oluganda. So njagala nnyo abantu abali eyo batuwulire kubanga bano abatuwulirira mu luzungu be basinze n'otuleetera obuzibu. So okuweewola si kibi naye ekizibu sente zoweewozeemu ozikozesezza ki? Bw'otunuulira sente ezizze zeewolebwa mu Uganda gavumenti zezzeyeewola gwe weebuuze kiki kyezikozeemu? Eyo y'ensonga. Okwewola si kibi.
All right. So yeah, the government has used the same money to improve its image worldwide. The government has used the same money to employ Ugandans. The government has used the same money to construct roads. We have seen an increase in the number of roads in the country. Tarmac roads, healthcare facilities are improving. Medical stuff is being brought in. So doesn't that make it reasonable for the government to borrow more money? Much as you people, especially in the opposition, are complaining that, well, the debts are too high, we need to have an adjustment on that.
Nze ndowooza opposition complaininga si tetujja gisibako nti tetukitwala nti complaininga. Eyogera issue. Eyo ye issue. Bw'oŋŋamba nti ozimbye eddwaliro eryo nga teririimu ddagala. Meya w'ekibuga abadde Kenya, ekyamutwala e Kenya nga ekyuma ekimukebera tekiri ne mu National Referral Hospital. Okiwulira? Waliwo mu kakiiko ka Parliament recently Minister no, it was not even a minister, yabadde member of Parliament, yagambye yalwalira e Rubaga. Bwalwalira e Rubaga ne bamugamba olina okukeberebwa. Naye nga National Referral Hospital ey'Emulago terina kyuma ekyo nga balina mutwala mu Agakaani. N'ababuuza kiki ekitudiza ssente mu budget eno gye tugenda okukola. Ssente ezo zonna ze tutadde ku defense. Ne tutaziteeka mu byabulamu. Ne tumanya nti buli referral hospital eri mu Uganda erina ekyuma nti tetukyasobola kutwala abantu bweru. Otegera. Kakati ekizibu ky'okwewola si kyekibi naye bweweewola ssente ezo ozikozesezza ekituufu abannayuganda kye beetaaga ozikozesa.
I want to thank you so much. Richard, before I bring in Karim from Washington, D.C., Richard, I want you to give me your take on the increasing debt that the country is facing right now. Henry mentioned about 1.5 that every Ghana should be paying. Apple mentions that he's not interested in getting the loans because they're not being used for the purpose. What's your take on that?
Let's talk about this a small issue of loan and big issue. You go and make a war in Congo and you'll find 10 billion, of which is going to be increasing every year. We don't know how much by the time we pay it off.
It's 4 billion.
Okay, which will be. Now, who took the money, the resources, the gold, the diamond, the timber, and everything was the soldiers and the NRM people that were in Congo. Now, at the end of the day, the bill is going up. We, the country, we have to raise taxes on individuals and give tax breaks to foreigners to pay off this loan. We have our own resources in the country. Gold, we don't have diamonds and other resources that have been sold on commission to Chinese investors and other people, of which ministers have taken commission. Now, of which, for example, gold, all the gold that comes out, the resources that comes out of the gold goes to the sons and the brothers of Mr. Museveni, the Sodos and everything goes to their pockets. It doesn't go into the national treasury.
All right.
Now, at the end of the day, accountability and supervision. I'm going to give you an example. Uganda Airlines. As of today, I was reading in the paper, Katumba Wamala, the Minister of Works and Transport, I don't know, has suspended all the board of directors in Uganda Airlines that has just been commissioned. Remember, the true owner of Uganda Airlines is not known because Uganda Airlines was sold to someone else who is unknown. But even the management that is running it today, we are caught in a big corruption and have been suspended. So we are now in this game of Museveni and Musevenism in the country.
That's how the government is working so hard.
Yeah. But that's why we people power. We are working and we shall achieve this with Chagulani. Overhaul everything into the country, bring back our assets so that the assets of the country, the resources of the country can go and pay and develop. Why would we go for loans? If I have if each year I can get 1.7 billion US dollars out of gold that goes to the pockets of Museveni and his children and the oil, why would I be borrowing money every time? Why don't I use this very money to develop the country?
Well, yeah.
No, let's be fair.
Yeah, you've mentioned that, but the country under President Museveni, they're trying to improve everything, improving the image, improving the facilities.
There's no development in Uganda right now that is being done unless the money is borrowed.
All right, so Richard.
Let me finish this. As people power, our job, eventually we shall take government. We shall balance the budget. We shall stop this unnecessary borrowing from these banks. And we shall create an economy where we shall be paying off good loans that are necessary.
All right, Richard, I want to thank you. Now, to our viewers, it's just a kind of reminder. The government borrows money every now and then. They borrow billions, millions, trillions, every now and then to improve, one, the image of the country, to improve the different sectors of the country. But one of the biggest things that now NRM under President Museveni is doing is to improve the image of the country and basically the image of the government worldwide. They're spending billions and billions of money to making sure that Uganda comes back to the international community as one of the best countries for tourism and everything. Now, joining me is Karim Muntami from Washington, D.C. Karim, I want to thank you for joining me. I know it's a very difficult time in the world today that billions and billions of money are being wasted. But I want to ask you this question. You have been researching and going through all the details of how much money the government is spending. What should people know about these billions of money that the government is spending on U.S. Image organizations or image improving organizations? What impact does it create to Ugandans? Will it help the image of Uganda to go up, or will it stay the same? Karim.
Thank you so much, David, for having me, and thanks everyone for being part of this show. I think Uganda has been doing rebranding for quite some time. By around 2015, they were paying about 4 lobby firms in Washington, D.C., and this included the Wichita Group, included Mercury Public Affairs, Scribe Strategies and Advisor, Banston and McCusker. All those firms were paid to a tune of about $2 million every year. So in 2015, Museveni was paying Mercury Public Affairs about $150,000 US dollars every 6 months. And on top of that, they enlisted a new lobby firm, which was Scribe Strategies and Advisor. So that has been his lobby firm since then. And they were paid, their contract was $250,000 US dollars every year. So since 2015, they have been their major lobby. So Recently, the trends have been changing, as you saw 2 weeks on the 26th of April, Museveni enlisted Macquarie Public Affairs again to lobby for them because the Ugandans in the diaspora have been putting pressure on our international development partners to reevaluate, to rethink the partnership that they're having with Museveni. So Museveni decided that it was a time to bring in these new guns. And I want to thank everyone who has been, involved in the peaceful demonstrations that we have been holding. We put a big, we sent a good message to Scribe Strategies the last time we were in Washington. And guess what? Jos Lavik was downgraded, and they brought in another new guy who signed a contract on behalf of Macquarie, who is Leonardo Desoret. Leonardo Desoret also works with the Hispanic Services Council, an organization which is supposed to be helping Hispanics here in America get jobs, But while he's doing that, he's getting money from the dictator Museveni to rebrand him. So we're encouraging everyone to not stop doing the work that we're doing. Advocacy works. So Museveni has been doing this. Yes, go ahead.
Well, Karim, I want to ask you, where does this money come from? Is it coming from just State House, the funds allocated to White House, or it's money coming from maybe also donations from other countries to improve the image of the country? Do you have an idea of where this money is coming from?
Oh, this money is coming from the market vendors in Chikuwa. This money is coming from the shoe vendors that are being kicked off the streets of Kampala. This money is coming from, the taxes that you pay on the phone. What is it called? OTT. That's where all that money is coming from, and it's being brought back here to rebrand Museveni. And the reason why he has been doing it, two things. The trends in Washington are changing. Museveni is being sidelined. There was an engagement with President Biden on Africa. There was an engagement about 2 weeks ago on climate change. He wasn't invited. On the 27th, there was a meeting with Uhuru Kenyatta to talk about security, refugees in East African region. Museveni wasn't invited. And that's the reason why he's in panic. He felt the need that he has to hire. He has to hire a bigger firm, which was bigger than Scribe. So he had to enlist Macquarie Public Affairs to do branding for him, because Macquarie Public Affairs isn't only working from Museveni, but he's also been doing a good job for our neighbors in Rwanda to rebrand them. So he had to tap into the skills that our neighbors in Rwanda have been using to do it. The reason why he was using Scribe Strategies is because Jos Lavik is also a big lobby in the Great Lakes region in Africa. He lobbies for a mining company in the Congo called Geka Mines. So because Museveni also intertwined his businesses in the Congo, so he had a good person to sell whatever he's doing
but Karim, first of all, thank you that you are a people power representative here in the United States. That's a good thing. But isn't now President Museveni and his government outsmarting the opposition in terms of looking for lobbies to better image Uganda? Isn't it a new way of and also isn't it and you guys failing to create a better strategy? And isn't it that President Museveni is outsmarting you as opposition when it comes to looking for lobbies to better create that image?
No, I wouldn't say no. We have the numbers. Actually, what the lobbyists do is not magical. Their job is to make sure that they reach out to media companies. Their job is to make sure they reach out to U.S. representatives to let them know that Uganda is a good place for investment. To let them know that Uganda should continue serving in AMISOM. Let them know that Uganda is safe for refugees, which is fake. So your job, you and me, Uganda here in the U.S., is to keep making that call. Make that call, send that message to your representatives. Let them know what is going on. Advocacy works. What the lobbyists do, all that money is just being paid to call representatives, to call media houses, to sell Museveni, to rebrand it. And we can do it. We have numbers. the good thing with us in the opposition is we don't have the money, but we have the numbers and we have the people. Our goal is to encourage each one of you to free up at least 5 minutes of your day and make that call and send that message. And on top of that, having said that, let me say this. We are having a parade next week. Let me take this opportunity.
Karim, I want to bring, okay, yeah, please go on.
We are having a parade. We are starting our, global Free Uganda demonstration starting next week. And here in Washington, D.C., we shall be starting at the offices of Mercury Public Affairs. We are going to be marching on the 7th of May from Mercury Public Affairs to Capitol Hill. So at Mercury Public Affairs, the same thing we did at Scribe Strategies. We are going to expose them. We are going to let them know that they are dealing with a ruthless dictator. And from there, we shall march to Capitol Hill. This is going to be a great opportunity for you who is here to send a message to your representatives to let them know that time is up for your Museveni.
All right, Karim, hang on. I want to bring in Jaja Ibo from South Africa. He's also a People Power representative down in South Africa. I'm sure the number of questions that now are going on here and there, people are asking, well, we have had President Museveni trying to do his best to create a better image for the country. Somebody else is also saying, well, I want to know, is it possible that opposition can also have such lobbyists who can create a better image for the country? But more of that, the questions are the same. The difference is the answers given. Joining me from South Africa is Jaja Ibo. Jaja Ibo, I want to make sure that I'm seeing you, I'm getting you clear, and the world is watching you. Can you hear me, Jaja Ibo?
Yes, definitely. I can hear you, sir.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So, I've heard from Karim from Washington, D.C., talking about demonstrations that are coming up, talking about the lobbies, how much money the government of Uganda is spending just to create a better image of it, rebranding. You people in the opposition, and I'm glad you're putting on a people power cap. Beret. You were saying, President Museveni is a very bad president. He's leading a very poor government. They're killing a lot of us. He's answering you by spending billions of money on foreign organizations to rebrand the country's image. Now, I want to ask a question. What is happening in South Africa today with regards to, is he spending a lot of money in your country to also rebrand there? And what are you guys in opposition doing to kill it?
Yeah, well, thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Thank you, colleagues on the panel, and thank you for our viewers and listeners. Of course, we know that Mr. Museveni is very desperate, having ruined the country, having killed each and every institution of government in Uganda, having caused a lot of people to flee Uganda and go and look for opportunities elsewhere. You see our sisters being traded like slaves in the Arabic countries. Many people of Uganda have fled the country to go to different countries. For most of them, some of them are running away from political persecution, and others looking for economic opportunity. So we know Mr. Museveni is actually very, very desperate to try and clear himself and clear the image of his government, not actually Uganda, but he's trying to clean the image of his government, because there is a difference between Uganda, the country, and the Museveni's government. Of course, we, as the people of Uganda, we love our country and we always sell our country, but of course, we do not agree with Mr. Museveni's government. President John F. Kennedy once said that loyalty to the country always, but loyalty to the government when it deserves it. So, Mr. Museveni, we have seen how he has been importing these celebrities from all over the world. The Kanye West, he was hosted alongside his wife at the State House, Uganda. I heard there was some talks between the Uganda's government and the Kim Kardashian about her posting them about Uganda on social media, on her Instagram. He's bringing in Akon, who is 80 million worth, $80 US.
JJ, but I want to ask you, isn't that hopeful? Isn't that important for the country? I mean, Ugandans are looking for such opportunities, and the more Uganda is known, the more you can have the market to sell your products. So isn't that one way of how the current government is working so hard to, create better opportunities for many Ugandans, instead of you or many of Ugandans going to Arab world or even coming to United States or going to UK to work? It's better you work in the country and then you sell your products out. And that's, I think, isn't that the reason why the government is spending a lot of money on issues of rebranding?
You see, the problem is the problem with Mr. Museveni.
All right, so we're still working on that. I'll bring back JJ Ibu, and I'm sure Karim, you're still on. Guys, I want to bring you here. Yes,
on that issue of the date. You see, we have to know that when Despot Museveni came to power in 1986, our national debt was very low. It was about close to 1.9 billion US dollars. So as we speak today, he has accumulated the debt to 65 trillion Uganda shillings. So this is a real issue that we have to, focus on, because Museveni cannot blame the past regimes of Idi Amin Dada and Milton Obote that they left a debt. Yet in the early 2000s, the G7, all these countries that are industrialized, they forgave our debt. So they gave us a chance to make sure that we recover our economy. But it is Museveni who has messed up this economy today. So if you are forgiven a debt of 2 trillion Uganda shillings from the G7, and now we at 65 trillion Uganda shillings, then it tells you that this guy is deliberately messing up the economy of Uganda. So how can we get out of this economic crisis? One is by getting rid of Despot Museveni. Because the more we sustain Museveni, the more we give him 5 more years into power, then it means he's going to recklessly borrow. Apollo told you something very important.
He's swearing in.
Apollo told you something very important. We cannot neglect this. Because Apollo was telling you that over 11.7 trillion Uganda shillings of the debt was stolen. So we have to raise eyebrows on this issue. Where did this?
Sorry, comrade.
All right, so I'm gonna cut you short a little bit.
I got some technical problem here. That
right. Let me bring in JJ Ibu. JJ Ibu, I was still asking a question, and I cut short here. But let me bring you in. What impact does it create on you people in the opposition? Let's start from that again.
Of course, as I was saying, that what Museveni is trying to do, he's trying to sell a mango that is already rotten. He's selling a rotten mango, and he's the person that actually caused the mango to be rotten. So there is nothing that Mr. Museveni can do right now to try and resell Uganda. The only thing that he can do, first of all, is he needs to begin by respecting the human rights and dignity, and also provide democracy in its true entirety, instead of bringing something that is that he calls democracy, but instead it is just dictatorship painted with the word democracy. You cannot, for example, let me take an example of North Korea. There is absolutely nothing that Kim Jong-un can do to sell North Korea to the eyes of the world, and while he continues to do the things that he's doing, there is dictatorship with impunity, there is zero tolerance against criticism and all these other human rights violations. So there is nothing that Museveni can do to sell the image of Uganda while these human rights violations continue to unfold each and every day. So he needs, first of all, to begin by respecting the human rights. He needs to begin by putting in place rule of constitutionalism. He needs to begin by putting in place rule of law. That's when the image of Uganda, he can begin by, he can then start selling the image of Uganda. But what he's trying to do right now is he's doing what he's supposed to do last is the one that he's doing first. You understand? So
right.
You need to start to begin by bringing about rule of law, rule of constitutionalism, and all these other constitutional provision, and respect to rule of law, respect to constitutionalism. Then before you talk about selling Uganda, bringing all these other celebrities to try and sell the image of Uganda outside Uganda. So we in the opposition, that's why we are trying to fight. We are trying to say no. We need, first of all, to be free. We Ugandans need to be free before you talk about selling the image of Uganda. And that's why we are coming up with this. We are up with this demonstrations across the globe to show the country, to show the world that Uganda is not free, because that is the trick of Mr. Museveni. He oppresses people inside Uganda, but outside Uganda, he paints the picture that the people of Uganda find. So this is the trick that many people have been falling into. When I just finish here quickly, here in South Africa, we have media houses that are now reaching out to us, and they have their cameras on Uganda. They're asking us what is happening in Uganda. We are seeing people that are being kidnapped. We are seeing people that are being incarcerated. We are seeing civilians being tried in the military courts. What is taking place in Uganda? So this has been brought with the pressure that we are trying to come up with, these demonstrations, petitions, and engaging all these other offices and the political offices in different countries around the globe to show the true image of Uganda, to show the world what is really happening in Uganda and not what Museveni is trying to sell to them. So that's why we are trying to come up and say, please, have respect for democracy first. Let there be respect of rule of law. Let there be respect of human rights before we begin about talking about selling the image of Uganda using this all other celebrities.
All right, Jaja, you know, I want to tell you something. Recently, I had a conversation with a friend of mine from China, and when she asked me where do you come from, I told her I come from Uganda, and she said, "Oh, you come from that peaceful country with a lot of love and democracy." I said, "Yeah, but and you know you have to create a better image." But let me put that aside. Let me bring you Karim again. Karim, with Jaja Ibu, you have mentioned two things that I've really liked. You guys are having demonstrations coming up, but let me first bring in Karim. Karim, the demonstrations you're talking about that are going to take place, I think, in Washington, D.C., what are they all about in general? You talked about it a little bit, but can you throw more light, as I'll also bring later Jaja Ibu to throw more light in South Africa. But first question, you people in your opposition, especially NUP or People Power Movement, for today, I won't bring in FDC or other political organizations, you're setting up demonstrations on different days, and you want them to reach a common goal. How is that going to work if you cannot do them at the same time? Like, remember those days of Free Bobby Wine when he was beaten in Arua? Everyone came up same week, same time, same everything. Why is it not happening today? Karim.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. First of all, I want us to recognize that we are working in difficult times. The reason why our demonstrations are not sometimes able to happen on the same day is because of what is going on. We are in the global pandemic. Some countries, like our friends in Canada, are on total lockdown. So if we say we are having a demonstration next week, it's going to take them a lot of time to secure permits. Even in other places, California has been under lockdown too. People in the UK have also been under lockdown. So it takes long. We don't just wake up and run onto the streets. We have to secure permits. We have to make sure that our people are secure. We have to let the relevant authorities know. We have to follow guidelines in the places that we are in. So it has been a challenge having these demonstrations on the same day because of the different guidelines and the different, what is it called? COVID guidelines that are going on in different countries. So that's why it's not like, okay, we are not just organized. Why is the other person having it on Tuesday and the other one is having it on Monday? It's because maybe by the time these comrades finish processing their permits, that's the only day that is available. Here in Washington, some places have been completely cut off. You know, it was hard to get a permit from Capitol Police after the events of January 6th. So many things, so many dynamics. It's not like, oh, people are, it's not just organized. It's because of the dynamics under which we are working at. But our goal is one, sending a message to our development partners to disassociate themselves from Museveni. It's also sending a message to his foreign agents that the time is up. Time is out for them. We are here. Yes,
I want to ask you this question, which I'm also going to ask Jaja Ibu, then I'll come back to my panel in the studio. What do you see any impact, the demonstrations you're carrying out? Have you seen any impact since you started? that is showing some positive results? Because the point is, since January 14, there have been a number of demonstrations going around in United States, United Kingdom, in South Africa, Ghana. Are you seeing any positive results? I'm going to ask you the question. I'll ask it to again to Jaja Ibu.
Sure. We have registered success in these demonstrations. I'll start with the previous one. We just concluded. We demonstrated at the offices of Joseph Selavic of Scribe Strategies and Advisors, and guess what? Museveni realized that this wasn't a fit guy to do his battles for him alone, so he had to enlist a new one. So that was an achievement. When he went to the State Department, he managed to send us a statement, not only standing out, but also reach out to the Ugandan desk officer. Hilary will attest. The officer came out from his desk and listened to Uganda. He delivered a document that we had crafted detailing gross human rights abuses that have been going on in Uganda. Guess what? We are seeing trends. The US is changing the tone. It was really, really hard talking about Museveni about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, because they had considered him, much as he was a dictator, he was their dictator, he was doing their work. But now they have come to their realization that Museveni is using the military-to-military partnership that the US is having in Uganda to his advantage. For example, after he killed more than 100 people in November, he decided that he's going to write an op-ed in the BBC and Al Jazeera that he had killed 189 Al-Shabaab militants. A story that we debunked. And after we debunked the story, Adoni Ayebare, who is the UN representative of Uganda, came out and was like, okay, no, that story was false. It was our pressure. It was the protest. Not only the protest that we carry out in person, but the protest that we are carrying out online. We having online protests day in, day out. We have been able to register some successes. So when we took a message to the State Department and we asked them to review the military-to-military partnership to Uganda, in light of the events that happened in November, after Museveni saying that he had brought his commandos from Somalia to brutalize people on the streets, guess what? The US is trying to make sure that they revisit the partnership they are having with Uganda. And when they issued visa sanctions on the 16th of April, Museveni on the 18th rushed Don Nabassa to Somalia to pin the Uganda troops that were in Somalia to give them certificates. Oh, we have been doing a good job. We are pinning you. We are going to decorate you. You've helped us a lot to rebrand the image. So the protests that we are carrying out have been effective, and I encourage everyone, wherever you are, do your job. If it's online, let us do online activism. It doesn't take long to tweet. It doesn't take long to send a message to your representative. So the protests work. Keep doing that. I hope to see each and everyone here in the United States.
Karim, before I let you go, when is your next demonstration in Washington, D.C.? Or are we expecting one in Boston area? Are we expecting one in Maryland? Are we expecting any? What's the next plan?
Okay, we are starting our global Free Uganda demonstrations on the 7th. And Dr. Ibu will talk about South Africa, but we're having one here in Washington, D.C., and I'm calling upon everyone that is supposed to come and join our demonstrations. There are also going to be demonstrations going on in the UK. We have demonstrations planned in South Africa. Dr. Ibu will be giving details on which places these demonstrations are. We are planning also demonstrations in California, also planning demonstrations in Kenya. So yeah, we are at it. We are making sure that the world knows Uganda is not a safe place. Democracy, Museveni must go. So,
all right. Yeah. Karim, I really appreciate you. Appreciate your time, and it's always a pleasure having you on the Epic Front. I hope to have you again. But let me bring in Jaja Ibu before you go, Karim. Jaja Ibu, I've heard Karim say you guys are also planning on demonstrating. I want to ask the same question I asked Karim. What impact has it done since you started demonstrating in South Africa? And we
the demonstrations have been very impactful. As I mentioned before, we have so many media houses here in South Africa that never knew anything about Uganda. Of course, they knew about Uganda as a country. There is a country that is called Uganda that exists, but they have never been really involved in the matters of Uganda. But right now, you see that many of them are actually reaching out to us. And remember the last demonstration that we had, I posted on my social media, of course, sending a message to our fellow comrades here that we shall be having a demonstration tomorrow. And then I remember receiving many phone calls and emails from some of these media houses reaching out to me, asking me about the details of the demonstrations, where are we going to start, where are we heading from there, what's going on. And have been calling us every time, asking us what is taking place in Uganda, how is Bobby Wine now, how is the human rights violations there, and stuff like that. So you can see that now the South Africa, of course, as the big brother of Africa, is starting to keep their eyes on you. They are starting to keep their eyes on Uganda. And just yesterday, we received an email from the human rights. The last demonstration that we had was at the human rights offices in Cape Town. And we received an email from them telling us that they will be writing to the Ugandan government, I think within a period of 1 week. They will be writing in regard to our memoranda that we handed over to them. So they will be writing to the Ugandan government in regard to that issue. So soon we shall be heading over to them to ask them how far has that, how far they have gone with that issue. And of course, we shall also be making sure that we keep them on pressure, because we don't just do these demonstrations for purpose of doing them, but we want these officers to act, because they have the they have the power to act. So our job is to make sure that we make them act on these issues. So for them to reach to the point of saying they are going to write to the Ugandan government, that is an achievement. For all these other media houses, the SABC, the Power FM, the ANCA, and all these other media houses reaching out to us each and every time, wanting to know what is taking place in Uganda, giving us interviews, doing all this survey about what is taking place in Uganda. All those are achievements. So of course, the demonstrations have been very impactful, and we intend to continue.
Well, yeah, that sounds like a very motivating statement. But I want to ask you this question, JJ Abu. The man you're opposing on May 12th is swearing in. What's the next step as South Africans?
Well, what I must tell you, first of all, South Africa is a very good example to us, because where we are today, South Africa has been. Of course, you know that what is taking place in Uganda is somehow similar to what was taking place here during the times of apartheid. And we have engaged with these comrades, the people from the ANC, people from the EFF, people from DA, and they have been giving us this kind of encouragement. And of course, what they tell us is that the struggle is always a marathon. The struggle is always, it needs determination and persistence. So Museveni swearing in on the 12th of May does not mean that the struggle has ended. I must tell you that Omar el-Bashir was sworn in a previous year before he was removed the next year. He was sworn in that he had won with 90%. So Museveni swearing in on the 12th of May does not change anything, does not affect us, does not demoralize us. You understand? It actually encourages us to even work harder, because we know that the person that is being sworn in is not the person that was elected. We know Ugandans went to polls and voted for another person, but this person is committing treason on the people of Uganda. I must tell you that in 2016, Dr. Kizza Besigye was charged with treason because according to them, he sworn in himself. So, and that's something that Museveni is doing. He's committing treason. He's swearing in himself, even though he knows that he was not elected by the people of Uganda. So what we are trying to do right now, we are going to continue with the struggle. We are going to continue with the struggle of removing Museveni, whether he swears in or not. For us, we know that if we are determined, if we are committed, we can remove Museveni a day after swearing in, or we can remove Museveni even before swearing in. So that is where we are.
Before I let you go, my last question, I apologize, but my last question is, are we seeing another people's government, just as it happened in 2017? Honorable Bobby Wine swearing in as people's president?
I think that is not that is not in my position to answer. I think that is something that can be answered with my superiors from Uganda. Perhaps they can be in a position. But for me, I don't believe in people's government. We are already the Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, the president-elect Honorable Chagulanyi was already elected as president. So the people already know there's no need of having people's government or whatever. We know that the person that was elected was the Comrade Bobby Wine, and that is what Ugandans know, and that's the people's president. Of course, he doesn't have to create a cabinet. This is the minister of this, this is the minister of that, but he is already in the hearts of the people. He's already in the hearts of the people. He was already elected. The only thing that is remaining is for him to go and occupy the state house. So Chagulanyi was elected as the president. So our next step right now is to make sure that he goes and occupies the state house as that where he rightfully belongs. So on the issue of forming a people's government, I think my superiors are in a better position to answer that question.
Jaja Ibu, I want to thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you here on Epic Front. I hope to have you again. Have a good time, and I'll hear from you soon. Karim?
Thank you very much.
Karim, we have had demonstrations, and I'm sure you people in People Power Organization are already prepared. I'll be watching you clearly. Karim, let me have you again. So I've heard from Jaja Ibu saying, well, they don't care about whether he swears in or not. Karim, your final statement, then I'll let you go. Do you care whether President Museveni swears in on May 12th? It's just 11 days to go, and you promised Ugandans that, well, he's not going to swear in. What's your take on that? Before I let you go.
Your question is, do I care whether Museveni is going
swears
to
in or not? But he's going to be declared, he has already been declared as a winner. Now he's going to be declared fully as a president of the country. Just 11 days to go.
The question for us as the diaspora, as Museveni illegally swears in himself, and the reason why we're having this protest is to ask our development partners, are you willing to work with somebody who is illegally swearing himself? And I think that's the mantra, that's the question to us. Are we just going to let them, sit by and watch what is going on in Uganda? So it's upon you and me to look into their eyes and ask them, given the circumstances, given the results of January 14th, given the human rights report by the State Department, Human Rights Watch, and other organizations that have been following the situation in Uganda, are our development partners going to decide to work with Museveni these 4 years, or they are going to stand with the people?
Karim, I want to thank you so much for your time, and so again, it's always a pleasure having you on the Epic Front. I hope to have you again. Please reach out to me whenever you're having a demonstration. So I want to hear from you guys when you're down there demonstrating and demanding for your rights. Guys, thank you so much, and hope to have you again. Karim, thanks. All right. Gentlemen, you've heard from, these are very strong people power activists, and I like them. But let's get, as we're running out of time, but let's get on this. President Museveni says Parliament is useless. They don't make decisions for the country. So that simply means, and to many Ugandans who are watching right now, that simply means that the president has the powers to make all the decisions that are in the country. So guys, within the time we have, let me start with Richard. What message does that send?
Yeah, Museveni has the authority, because he made his own constitution, to dissolve parliament the way he wants, anytime, any day, and install a fully military dictatorship. That was the message. That you people don't joke with me. I just brought you in to have some small money to eat, but I take responsibility. I make decision. You people are useless. That's nothing. That's all.
He somehow proposed.
Yeah, but let me tell you the impact you people don't see by Museveni not being considered as the key military strongman in Somalia. You see, Uganda has been in captivity ever since we came here, starting lobbying for Uganda. Every time they have been telling us, oh, we need Museveni. He's the only one that can control and stabilize the Great Lakes region. Somalia, Kenya, Tanzania, Congo, Rwanda is the key maker. That's why he was always kept in power. Now, if you see right now today that the instability that is happening in Somalia right now, that Museveni tried to install himself by letting the people of Somalia divide themselves, remove what had been agreed in their agreements, and then push for one-on-one vote in Somalia. so that there's instability, so that the Al-Shabaab can come in and Museveni can stay. So that, Museveni gets all his money that has been paying all the local defense, everyone, the security, from Somalia, the weapons, from America and overseas. So if this backbone is broken because this latest strategy has failed, if you see what has happened in Somalia recently, I've been following the news, it has failed. They have told the president there, you are not going to do what you think that you and Museveni are going to do. If not, we are going to take over government. And this man backed up. So now, if Museveni loses his mandate in the Great Lakes region as a key player, where he has been getting political support, military support, and money to pay for his massive security in Uganda, then his days are numbered in Uganda.
All right, Apollo, you're seeing the same story going on. What comes into your mind when the president says, I can even come up with a referendum and dissolve this parliament of Uganda? What message does it send to you?
Kino nze mbeera nkyogerako. I always say even this many times. First and foremost, the country is a military regime. That's it. President, he has a high command. By the way, whatever...
But power is given to him by the Constitution. He's not doing anything illegally. He's doing everything legally. The Constitution gives him the power.
Exactly, that's it. That's why many times I said, before we fight for anything, before we fight for any other thing, we should fight for the president, for the power that is the president is having is too much. Because when you have too much powers, many times you use it to do useless stuff. Because you cannot say the parliament is useless. When you choose judges, you take them there to be vetted. That means those judges which go there to be vetted are vetted by useless people. That is contradiction. You get what I'm saying? So if you say, if I was one of the members of parliament who were there, I should have even walked away. Because you cannot be called useless and you still clapping. I saw them clapping. Clapping for what? Someone is calling you useless and you still clapping? It's really amazing. That last week when I was here, I told you that Parliament has no any authority at all. But as long as Museveni is the commander of everything.
Parliament approves all the budgets. Parliament vets all these ministers. So it does something. It's legitimately in the powers of the country, recognized, and they do what they have to do, right? So if you say that they don't have the powers, that President Museveni has the power, then who vets these ministers? Who vets the judges?
Because abasindika n'abalonda n'abasindika eri abasindika mu bali useless nga bwe yabayise kakati then bw'obanga botusindikira okutulondera okutuvetingira abantu abagenda otukolera bali useless gwe abalonzo waaki.
All right, here what's your take on this issue? President Museveni undermining the powers of this one of the strongest arms of the government, and he clearly says that we don't care about them. We don't care about what they say. We don't care about their ideas, suggestions. What comes into your mind? Is the president now taking control of everything? Is he disorganizing and disrespecting the constitutional powers, the powers that are given to members of parliament? Is he saying that, well, even the constitution is useless? What comes into your mind?
Well, the rhetoric that was used by Despot Museveni, first of all, was uncouth. Such a leader, the head of state, commander-in-chief, cannot use such derogatory words on legislators. But at the same time, as a concerned citizen, of course, I'll agree with the dictator Museveni that our parliament is useless. Because if you look at the mess we have today in our country, it is the parliament of Uganda that is primarily responsible for what we are today. It is this parliament that removed the age limit. It is this parliament that removed the term limits. It is this parliament that is endlessly borrowing from, financial institutions like the World Bank, IMF. So they are approving all those loans.
It's also the same parliament.
So when the president, the dictator who is outgoing, says that parliament is useless, For that, I agree with him. Because we have over, in the new parliament coming, over 528 MPs. They are just taking taxpayers' money. They are doing nothing. So here in America, they give ratings to congressmen and women. In Uganda, if you're giving ratings to them and ask them how many bills have been passed, even in the opposition itself, look at the people in opposition, ask them how many bills have they passed when they're in parliament. Of course, it's nothing. They're just caring about their,
yeah, but
and their families.
You said here you said it's this parliament is useless. The same parliament where you members of parliament representing the people power organization or national unity platform are going to participate in, and at the same time you are most likely, according to different sources, going to support the lady who has come out clearly stating that she is the person responsible as to why the age limit was removed.
Now you're basing on hearsay. Because
I'm basing on facts.
Hearsay. Because no, if you look at the literature we had in Ginger for the National Unity Platform, we have never passed any resolution. That's why I'm saying that is hearsay.
There are chances that one of the candidates...
So when you say there are chances, those are assumptions. They're not facts. The two are different. So now, as National Unity Platform, we have no resolution for speakership. We haven't decided whether you're supporting Kadaga, whether you're supporting Samuel Nganda or Jacob Olanya.
You plan on bringing on President?
We are not yet clear on that position. But with time, of course, the legislators we have in this coming parliament, they will decide and tell the nation that either we abstain from voting on the three candidates that are running, or we line behind and one candidate and support them. So your question was about the parliament.
The parliament, right.
Our parliament is dysfunctional. It has done nothing. So look at the entire mess we have, because I've just told you about the national debt. So look at our economy, how it's growing, because these lawmakers, they cannot be silent. They cannot be sitting in their comfort zones when we have thousands of our comrades, young people, illegally incarcerated in prisons, and they're doing nothing. And we said as a parliament that has no say to go and fight for justice for our comrades who are rotting in jails. So what kind of parliament is that? Look at the budgets they are passing today. Of course, they are not pro-people. They are anti-people.
Of course, a little bit. It's really amazing that someone can be in jail and he or she doesn't know that day or that time he's supposed to be in court, to be taken to court. Yeah. When these people went there, the human rights parliamentarian something went over there. This is what people told them. Because even when these guys were in before the court martial, that guy who is he's a lawyer. The guy who is in charge of court martial, Guti, he's a lawyer. He said, you go back to jail and no more coming to court. How can it, can you imagine that? And a parliament for all that long, it's gone even to a year. Half a year. They are looking at these people inside the prisons. They have no even the cops that they will see the judge any day, any time. But the parliament is keeping quiet.
All right, guys. So if I can wrap up,
we're going to wrap up
on this issue.
Because my producers are
I didn't finish on this point. Right. Now you see, we were not saying that every legislator in this parliament is useless, but majority of our legislators are inept. They have done nothing to make sure
that leaves me the question, and here I'm going to keep it general. That leaves me the question. Your people or your friends vote for these candidates, and nothing happens. They don't vote for themselves.
Where is the problem coming in from? Because what we lack today in Uganda, it's not the voters. We don't have the balance of power. Because parliament is one arm of all the arms we have for the government. So we have the parliament, we have the judiciary, name it, the executive. So there is no balance of power in Uganda if you look at our political structure. Now, what do we have to do as a country if we want to move forward? We have to reduce the powers we're giving to the head of state.
Sure.
So it goes back to constitutional amendment. to make sure that we
over
fix
time-
the mess
Which over
that is in
time,
our constitution.
opposition has been against. They don't want so many amendments. That's how
No,
they fought against
nobody,
the age limit, you fought
nobody
against
is
the term
against.
limits.
Nobody in the opposition is against creating a balance of power in the constitution, because we want our institutions to be independent.
All right.
So we don't want to get directives from the head of state, Despot Museveni, to pass bills or resolutions in parliament.
All right.
So we want these institutions to be independent, and nobody should intervene on what they're doing. So because Despot Museveni is saying parliament is useless, he can easily manipulate the parliament. That's why he's calling it useless.
All right, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much, and I want to thank our viewers for watching the show. But this is not a joke. It's kind of like a joke, but no. We're now 11 days to President Museveni swearing in. The opposition promised Ugandans that he is not, the opposition to be specific, NUP, promised Ugandans he is not going to swear in. Come what? Come rain, come shine. 11 days down the road, the same problem that many Ugandans have been promised is not coming to pass. What's your say? Final take, final word. Is there a solution for that?
Yes, let me tell you something. I've been in Uganda many years. I saw Idi Amin. I saw Milton Obote. Now I heard what Museveni is doing. The moment you have roadblocks, Museveni, who championed as the greatest leader of Uganda, and you are now ruling the country with roadblocks everywhere, with the curfews, and then you are telling me that is an elected leader that is going to swear in and lead the country to the next 5 years so that Uganda are kept in impoverished condition forever. I think you are wrong.
All right.
Let's wait and see.
guys, I want to thank you so much for.
So if I could also comment briefly on that. Of course, we still believe that Bobi Wine won the election free and fair with 54.1%. So as Ugandans, we're not backing down and we're not giving up on our country. So giving Despot Museveni 5 more years, it means we are allowing more extrajudicial killings. It means we are allowing more gross violations of human rights. It means we are allowing more corruption. It means we are allowing more national debt. So as Ugandans, we have to rise up and say enough is enough to Despot Museveni. If it means arresting him, the international community and all those who are concerned, all those who are friends to Uganda, they should, come and unite with Ugandans to make sure that we get rid of this major problem, Despot Museveni. Because the more we sustain him in power, then it means we are going even to get worse, because the national debt has ballooned and our comrades are dying on each and every day basis, and the parliament is, as we've said, is dysfunctional. The judiciary is very dead. There is no justice there. So as Ugandans, let's rise up, let's fight back to make sure that we bring back democracy into our hands.
I want to thank you guys. It's always good to have you, and it's always great to have a conversation. Sometimes I really want to go and if I had access to check on what's going on online, people who are watching us online on Facebook and other platforms. But let me give my closing take. It's great when people have different views, and when the president comes out to say that one arm of the government is useless, that arm doesn't make decisions for the country, then you must ask yourself, are you really voting for the right people in all those offices, or you're voting for the useless people? Now, the question is not going to stay there. It comes back to you. Are you also useless? Now, ask yourself that question as you're voting for these people. Have a good week. Here, we thank you for watching us, and hope to have you again next Saturday, right on the Epic Front. AITV coming up is your voice. Have a good week.